Hello and welcome. Today we are talking about how to leverage your network for your next opportunity, as well as ways to tap into that hidden job market. Let me start by talking about the hidden job market. I hear people talk about this a lot, and there is a lot of truth to it. I don't love the term hidden job market, but what people are talking about is how people get hired for these jobs that never get posted, never really get discussed or kind of put out there to the world, and yet people are getting hired. So I feel like every time I go on LinkedIn, I see that someone in my network, multiple people in my network have started these new roles. And a lot of times they didn't apply for them. So how did they get them? This ties into how we leverage our network for our next opportunity. I cannot stress to people enough that your network is everything. It's everything. Every person you meet, connect with them on LinkedIn. It's not to be thought about as a typical social media platform. This is not MySpace back in the day. This is not Facebook, where you're just adding friends for the sake of increasing your friend count. It's incredibly important. You never know who you are going to meet who could drastically alter the direction of your career. And even if it's not necessarily that person, you never know who that person is connected to that could alter the direction of your career. When people are looking for new roles and they want to start applying for jobs online, the first thing I ask them to do is put together a list of roles that they're interested in so that we can see who we know at that company. Specifically, I always like to see if I know anybody so I can be of help, but I always encourage my client to see who she might know at the company, even if it's a second connection. It's so powerful to have your resume submitted to HR or to the hiring manager from an internal employee. A lot of times people hesitate to ask people to put them forward for a role, but I want to remind you of something. The majority of companies offer employee referral bonuses, which means that if you ask your contact to put you forward for a role and you get hired, that person gets financially rewarded. So there is a motivator there for people to do it. So don't think about it, as many people do, as you're being burdensome or you're being annoying by asking someone to help you. If there are companies that you are specifically interested in and they don't have a job posting open, that doesn't mean you can't still reach out. So let's say you're a fitness guru, your dream is to work at Nike in the PR department. So what do? Well, we have a look at jobs that have been open at Nike previously that might be of interest or would have been of interest. And then we have a look to see who do we know in our network that works at Nike. Hey, Jenny, long time no talk. Similar to what I talked about in my previous video. Long time no talk. See you over at Nike now. It's definitely a company that's been on my radar. Would you be open to a chat? Love to hear what your experience has been like. Human beings, it's a fact. We love to talk about ourselves. So when you do that outreach, and I do have in the free resource section of my website, there are free resources for LinkedIn messaging templates so that you can get some direction and guidance around how to execute these emails to people. And I guess I'll specify the difference for those of you who don't know between the first, second, and third connection on LinkedIn. So first connection is somebody that you are already connected to. You can openly message those people. It's very easy. Second connection means it's someone that you have a connection in common with. So you are not connected to this person, but someone in your network is. If you want to be connected to this person, find out who in your network is, you'll be able to see, and ask that person for an introduction. Third connection means that you don't know anybody who this person knows. You have no connections in common. You can usually still connect with them, but if you are doing outreach to someone who's a third connection on LinkedIn, you need to have a pretty compelling message to write them as to why you're checking in with them, touching base with them. So as I said, I do have the messaging templates, which are very helpful for this kind of outreach. Another really powerful way to approach your network is to start going through your LinkedIn contacts and see who works at companies that you're actually interested in, that you care about. That way, you can start putting together a list. I like to do all this in a spreadsheet. Name of the person, company they work at. Again, we are not here to talk about whether or not they have an open job at the company. We are just here to talk about getting those conversations going to put out there what you are looking for. So as we create this spreadsheet, name of the person, company, and what the action item was. What did you do? Did you reach out to them on October 24th? Great. Did they get back to you on October 30th? Great. Did you set up a virtual coffee? Great. What was the outcome of that? It's really, really important to keep all of this tracked and visible so that you can keep following up with people as necessary. Saying things like, would you keep me in mind if a position were to come along where I could do X, Y, and Z? Or do you know of anything that might be coming down the pipeline in Q4 or Q1 of next year? Again, this is part of the whole hidden job market strategy. Sometimes these roles are approved. I can tell you for a fact, when I worked at Beachbody, we knew what roles we were going to hire throughout the year. It would make our life so much easier if we had a referral for one of those roles than have to go through the process of posting the job and going through all the interview process. So getting in touch, leveraging your network, and inquiring, even though there's nothing open right now, do you have any insight into what might be coming along further this year is incredibly, incredibly powerful. Something else that I find is a great way to approach this is if you have been unfortunately affected by layoffs and you're actively seeking a new opportunity because you don't have one right now, putting a message on LinkedIn to your network is incredibly powerful. Now, is this an active vulnerability? 100%. Do you necessarily want to tell your whole LinkedIn network that you no longer have a job and you're looking for a new one? Maybe not, but it doesn't matter because this is what LinkedIn is for. And you can write a very compelling, carefully put together message that says something like, I'm sad to announce that after 5 years with Microsoft, I was impacted by the company-wide tech layoffs that are happening in my industry right now. With that said, I am now open to new opportunities and I'm looking to do X, Y, and Z in my next role. Obviously, you can make it longer than that. And if you would like to see an example of what this type of post looks like, please send me a message. I'm happy to send you one. But the other key in this is tagging people and asking people to reshare that post for you. Something I've learned about LinkedIn is when you put a post up there, not everybody sees it. It's only how many impressions you get. Maybe it drives more engagement. But for the most part, I have a LinkedIn network of 12 or 13,000 people from all of my years of recruitment. When I put a LinkedIn post up, a fraction of those people actually end up seeing it. So don't be afraid to post something like that more than once, maybe change the words up a little bit and tag different people and encourage those people to share your post. Something else I'd like to add is that if you are in a position where you're applying for a job online, do everything in your power to find out who the hiring manager is so that you can reach out directly to them on LinkedIn or via email, because nowadays you can find just about anybody's email online, to say, "Dear Jenny, I'm reaching out to introduce myself and to let you know that I've just applied for the role of X, Y, and Z on your website and wanted to send my resume to you directly as well. Give a brief sentence or two about why you're a good fit for the role, and you look forward to next steps and hopefully setting up an interview." Being proactive is so important. If you are sending out hundreds of applications and not taking the time to personalize them or detail them, you're probably not going to get a call back. So do everything you can to tap into that network, post, keep your online presence up on LinkedIn, and do not be afraid to reach out to people in your network to let them know that you are open to new opportunities, picking their brain about the company they work at, deciding if it's potentially of interest to you, and then asking them to put your resume forward should a position open up. Thank you for your time, guys.